Hello and welcome to Schmidy's guide on choosing a class in Secret World Legends. In this guide I'm just going to be going through which classes are the best and some basic mechanics of the game and some stuff that may not be obvious until after you've already created your character if you don't know them beforehand. So what classes should you choose and why? Well, there's two of the most important things that you need to know if you get nothing else out of this video. The first is that classes in this game are a misnomer. Any single character is going to be able to unlock all the weapons and all the skills in the game, and once you've done that you will be at no inherent advantage or disadvantage compared to anyone else, regardless of the weapons you're using at this point in time, nor the class you originally started with. It does take time to unlock the weapons and extra skills, so basically what that means is that classes are going to determine which weapons you level with. And that's it. The second thing is that heal weapons, as we will venture forth and see in a second, are going to be a little bit slower to beat up mobs with. So since the majority of storyline content is just beating stuff up, heal weapons are going to make it so you run through the game a little bit slower. As such, I would suggest staying away from the three classes that are double heal weapons. Those are Ravager, Mercenary, and Warlock, who have some combination of blood, fist, and assault rifle weapons, which are the three healing weapons in the game. If you really like those weapons, or if you know that you're going to be spending some money or playing this game a ton, and you'll easily make up for the about 10% difference, I'd say, in speed for leveling up, then great, more power to you. We'll need some of you guys when we get to the end game. But for anyone else, I would pick any of the other classes. All the rest of the classes, if you're using any of the other weapons, are going to be very similar in speed and effectiveness. And from there, it's really just going to depend upon which weapons you enjoy using the most, and we'll be talking about that in the next video here. So, let's look at a little bit more into the weapons. You have a primary weapon and a secondary weapon on your bar here. So I have hammer and blade, as you can see. And if we open up our character's inventory, you'll see hammer is my primary and blade is my secondary. So what's the difference? Well, the difference is that you'll see we have an energy bar here. Most of the skills you want to use for both of the weapons will consume energy, and the energy for your primary weapon recharges twice as fast as the energy for your secondary weapon. On top of that, if you've run out of energy in both weapons, you'll need to use a filler ability. So we have our power ability here, consumes 3 energy, does 42 damage, and then we have our filler ability, the basic ability here, and it doesn't require any energy, but it doesn't do anywhere near the damage either. It's doing about half the damage. And that's really the difference here. The basic ability also has to be from your primary. So you're just going to be using your primary more because it regens energy faster, and when you've run out, you're going to be using that weapon as your builder, as your basic ability, as the filler. So that's going to be the big difference here. From there, we want to look through just sort of the basics of why I think the heal rating weapons are just not quite as good, even though they will be at the end of the game, and just go through some basic mechanics. So let's start with our active abilities here. You will see there are our red lettered abilities. Those are the consuming abilities, the power abilities that consume your energy. They will do extra damage, but they require energy, and they have no cooldown. The white text abilities are going to be your fillers, the basic abilities that require no energy. So there's kind of your basic, 1-2 punch here. And then we will have our blue abilities. These abilities all have a cooldown, generally 20 seconds. They are going to be a little bit more powerful than your power abilities are because they, along with consuming some energy, as you see here, also have a cooldown. So they're going to have some extra effects like this one does, or do a little bit more damage, and they will allow 2 of these on your bar. So you can have up to 2 of these on your 6 skill bar slots here. And then finally, our shiny gold bordered and texted Elite here is the incredibly powerful tool. It is always like best in slot, so you almost always want to have one of these on your bar. As you can see here, it's an AoE that's doing more damage than any of our other attacks here. Like Demolish does only 56. Demolish happens to be a bit of a dark horse here because when you're enraged it does more damage than Eruption, but virtually nothing else does. But it also stacks Exposed, knocks things into the air, hits AoE, so Eruption is really crazy. And you can have one of these on your bar because of how powerful they are. Then we'll go to our passives. So along with your passive abilities you can see here, which give you bonuses and just do some background buffing for you, you'll also see these little icons here. These are permanent stat boosts for your character. And this is where healing weapons lack something really important that we'll be getting to here in a second. So there are 5 primary stats in the game. If we open up our inventory here, you'll see that we have health, the 2 different types of protection. We'll have attack rating, and the one we don't have is heal rating. Health increases your HP, attack rating increases your base damage, and heal rating increases your base healing. So these are just your basic ones. And then magical and physical protection are just straight damage reduction. So those are the basic ones that you're going to get just straight from your talisman. Then there are secondary abilities which you will add to your talismans through items called glyphs once you get them up to a higher quality. That'll be happening later on in the game, but those secondary stats are really where we're going to start seeing a difference here. So there are 3 offensive ones, which we'll be able to see in a DPS weapon. So there is crit rating, which increases the chance of critical hitting, your crit power, which increases the additional damage or healing that they do, and hit rating. And all hit rating does is decrease the chance of the defensive abilities occurring. Those defensive abilities are Evade and the aptly named Defense. So Evade does what it sounds like. If you are evaded, your attack just completely misses, does no damage, and any of your additional effects are not activated. Defense will cause your attacks to glance. These attacks will do a fraction of the damage they are supposed to do. And any of your additional effects also fail to activate. So if your attack was supposed to stack Exposed, or knock them down, or set them on fire, or heal you, none of those will happen if you glance. And hit rating is what stops you from being evaded or glancing. The problem with heal weapons here is, despite the fact that if you look here real quick, if I just check the abilities and we go to the 3 consuming AoE here, it does 21 damage, and then we go to our DPS weapon and we look for the same thing, 3 consuming, that does the same amount of damage. So you'd think, oh, okay, these should both be the same. The problem is that there is no hit rating. You're not going to see a single one of those little crosshairs here anywhere on your passive abilities. What that means is that if you have a double heal weapon build, you will be glancing and evading all the time, and you will be doing that long before you can get the glyphs that will help you to start mitigating that. So that's why I think that heal rating, or the heal weapons, are not good to begin the leveling content with, because you will start feeling the damage reduction that you are suffering from glances really heavily, really quickly. So pick anything else, just choose weapons you'll enjoy, and I'll be showing you what the weapons do here in just a moment. Hopefully, I will see you there.